Michael Lantry, GemPool, thank you so much and for inviting me to the Summit in Holt, I believe.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
And for those that aren't overly familiar with Dublin, Holt will be the most beautiful place you can see from the south side. It's the outcrop, right?
Yeah. So Holt's the peninsula on the north side of the bay, and it's a traditionally a beautiful fishing village. And the Summit Inn is the pub right on the top of the hill, and a pub that I would have been in many, many times. And it's across the road from my family home. And my mom's side of the family, all from Holt for generations.
Wow.
And Tommy Gaffney used to own the pub, and so would have been in here. Now, I never worked in it. I worked in plenty of the pubs around Holt as a bartender over the years when I was younger in college, but always having pints in the Summit Inn. And there used to be a really good nightclub, Gary. I don't know if you were in it, called K2. It's no longer there, but used to. I remember seeing Aslan play in K2 back in the day as well. It was a really popular nightclub that would pull people from around Holt, Baldoyle, Sutton in for if someone was looking for a late pint.
And we were speaking about it earlier. Obviously, things have changed, but live bands in bars, there's something fantastic about it.
Yeah.
Um, and Aslan, I guess they were a popular gang. They were a popular band right the way through. So it must have been even. Where was it? A different venue? Not here. Was it where we're
So
standing?
where we are here is the lounge area, and then it would be a door around the back into the nightclub, and then you'd be filtering out into the car park in the back at the end of the night and staggering out onto the road and to try to get a taxi, or in my case, walk 100 meters to my house. So yeah, a good pub, good dartboard, good pool table, always a good mix of heads in there for pints as well. So good spot.
Lovely, lovely. So we're sitting there. We just pulled up and we're having a cup of coffee or a pint or whatever time of the day it is. The door opens, and living or dead, who would you love to be right there, about to walk in and about to order a pint?
Um, I would love to have a pint with Adele.
Okay. Well, I
She,
can honestly say that's the first time anybody has said that.
I
Go.
would love to have a pint with Adele. She's great crack. She's had a really interesting life. I love her, and I would love to have a pint with her for sure. I would also love to have a pint with Oscar Wilde. I think he would be a really interesting person to speak to. Or Usain Bolt. I'd love to have the crack with him. I don't know if he'd sit there chatting to have a pint, but I'd say he's an
Yeah.
interesting character
So I
as
have to
well.
go back to the first one, Adele, right? So
Yeah,
Adele obviously is well respected for her music, her writing, the whole lot. You say that she had an interesting life. Is there something that most people don't know about her? Is it, did she?
no, I just think the fact that she came from fairly working class background, through her music became a superstar, has traveled the world, touring and doing amazing things, and even still, when you kind of see her here, when she's doing an interview or something like that, she just seems like just a really nice person and loads of fun. And I just say over a pint, you'd have great crack with her.
Because I remember actually, funny you mentioned it. I think her albums, when they started coming out, she always named them of the age that she was at the time.
Hmm.
I think one of her albums was 19, and she'd already been around a little while. And you listen to the lyrics of a 19-year-old, and I mean, I'm 50 plus and I don't understand that part of life.
Yeah.
You'd love to know, and that's why I like, and maybe you do too. You see the documentary, some the making of an album, and they give the history of the songs, and they're usually fascinating. Like Saturday Night Fever. The beat for the Saturday Night Fever is going over Brooklyn Bridge, and every 14 meters you have the car going over the
Nice.
divide, and that's the
Yeah.
beat. You'd
Yeah.
love to say, how does a 17, 18-year-old understand love and affection and loss and stuff like that? Yeah, it's interesting. Were you a poet? Were you into poetry or anything like that yourself?
Not really, and I don't think I would have had a very nuanced understanding of the world when I was 17, 18. I remember working in my career at the very start, and I was just looking for money for pints on a Friday night and a Saturday, and then back to work on the Monday. And that was the breadth of my kind of existence. And someone like Adele, that's probably why she's superstars, because she sees the world through a different lens, you know?
I guess it is, and it probably brings us to another. So that I'm sure you've either kids yourself or you're surrounded by kids, but you often wonder when you look at the leaving cert and the intercert, and they give you poems and stuff of people who are dead 5, 6, 700 years. Yeah, think I'm an advocate for getting a song and turning it into a poem and putting it Adele or I don't know, whatever your fancy is, Post Malone. The kids would lean into it so much more because the sentiment, right, is pretty much the same. It's lost, love,
Yeah,
loving.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, agreed. Yeah, I do remember leaving Cert English, and there was some poetry that was pretty engaging, but a lot of it just felt a little bit unrelatable at times. And yeah, I definitely think if they were to give modern lyrics, it would be good. I do remember a hilarious moment though when I was 18, and so I was leaving Cert year, and they brought all the kids into this hall. So we had a couple of hundred kids in the hall, and the president of the school, who was a priest, decided to quote from a song, thinking it would have this really motivational impact. And he quoted from, I think the band was M People,
oh
and it
yeah,
was like, "You've got to reach for the hero inside yourself. You got to reach for the hero inside." And everyone just started laughing because it was this song sung by this,
yeah,
really high-pitched female singer.
yeah.
And there's this priest standing up talking about, reaching, and it just didn't work. But it was,
No, no, but okay, Heather Small, I think the girl's name was that was with them people, but you're talking about it 35 years later or 30 years later, and
yeah,
I guess you're not
yeah.
remembering any of your shots or
Yeah, I do
so,
remember. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I do remember.
stuff goes in, and I suppose like a lot of things at least he made the effort.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Give him that. Give him
At
that.
least he made the effort. So we're there, and Adele has gone off. She's singing down outside the chipper in
Cafe Kyra down the
boat.
village.
Yeah, and there's a bolt of lightning, and everything goes except three apps on your phone. What can you not live without?
3 apps on my phone.
Yeah,
Okay, it's probably going to be a bit embarrassing. So I definitely would have to keep LinkedIn, right? And I say that
oh,
because I'm a recruiter, and I live on that app. I don't use any other social media apps. I don't scroll on TikTok or Instagram. I don't have accounts. But on LinkedIn, I'm looking and I'm engaging, and I'm also always trying to work on the kind of personal brand piece. A bit like
yeah,
yourself, Gary, because it's really important as a recruiter, because we're talking to people. It's all about people understanding and trusting you and stuff like that. So I
it is.
definitely would be keeping LinkedIn. The other
Everybody's
two.
dead though. There's nobody left in the world. There's a bolt of lightning, and it's wiped out everyone. You still have
Okay. Well
LinkedIn.
then, I'm probably not getting. I don't care about LinkedIn then. Um, Spotify probably, because I listen to podcasts all the time whenever I have that time. I don't really listen to music. It's more long form podcast that I listen to. And the other one is my Whoop app. I'm a little bit obsessed with my sleep and my recovery and all that sort of stuff. The kind of biometrics, you can and the training and all that sort of stuff. So I'm a little maybe unhealthily obsessed with my health. And I love that app. I'm always looking at that. So the Spotify and Whooper too. And maybe the third one is my sports BBC Sports app that I'm always checking
Oh, yeah.
stuff on. But if there's no one around, there's no sports. So
So you're measuring. Okay, Whoop is it's an analytics platform for
yeah.
challenging yourself, weight, blood, glucose, the whole lot. So what are you doing to monitor? Are you leaping, hopping? Are you one of these lycra guys I see and then it's scary every second weekend?
I am one of the Leica guys. I'm big into my triathlons, Gary. So I do a lot of swimming, cycling, and
Okay.
running. And so I get out cycling as much as possible, because that's the longest amount of time in any of these races is in the saddle rather than out running. So Yeah, but I've been trying to get a little bit more variety to the kind of exercise I do. So it's less cardio, a bit more weight sometimes. And I'm trying to do some different types of races now. After the last 10 or 15 years doing triathlons, I kind of like mixing it up. So I'm doing a couple of adventure races and stuff like that this year. So yeah, I am. I'm into all that stuff, and I got the Lyco Gary, and I'll be
Really?
dropping your car up
But
in
I but I've seen you and we've met before, so I know you're not this guy. But honestly, there should be wide load on the back of some of the lads who go out and they buy the best of gear, or there's a special in Lidl. And I live, as you know, in Wicklow, and the roads really are not forgiving for
No.
people who are only starters. And I do have one question for you though. So, is that sea swimming that you do?
I do sea swim, but I probably do most of my training in the pool up in the National Aquatic Centre, and
Okay.
50-meter pool. But I get out in the sea because my office is in Blackrock, and Sea Point's just on our doorstep. So in the summer, I try and sneak out there and get some swimming in, and then obviously the races are generally in rivers or in the sea. Yeah.
Okay, because I see them regularly when I go over to Bray this weekend, even, and people are going into the sea, and it's a sort of a bonding thing. I think it's more to do with when they come together after, and it's a big, oh, that was great. We shared that experience,
Mm.
and I suppose that's as much, shared experiences. Is
Have
that
you?
what you get out of the triathlon? Obviously, you have to be extremely fit, and it's quite individualistic. You have to do a lot of stuff on your own.
Mm.
Is it at the end, or when you come together as a tribe? Is that when you get that real spirit?
Well, for me, the training is quite meditative, right? So I don't listen to music when I go running or cycling or anything like that. So I'm out and I'm just alone with my thoughts. I think it's actually probably really healthy for me to have that time to kind of just, figure stuff out and let thoughts distill because it's just always so it's always so busy, especially running a company.
Yeah.
There's always something going on or some fire you're putting out. So I think it's good from that perspective. I would enjoy training with people a bit more, I'm not a member in any clubs.
Yeah.
But the races are great crack, and you're buzzing off the other contestants, and you hang around after, and everyone's having a bit of fun. But you mentioned the open water swimming, Gary. The community around the open water swimming circuit around Leinster is phenomenal. I've raced in a couple of those races, not a lot, but the format is interesting. So it's first out of the water wins, but everyone is
Oh,
handicapped. So you might be on the 7 minute mark. So they start the clock at zero, and the people who are on zero start. And it goes all the way back to say 12 minutes where the strongest swimmer starts, and he has to or she has to overtake everybody. And
yeah.
first out of the water wins. But then they have tea and coffee and hang out on the beach. And it is actually a really, really good community, and they're lovely people, and I've really enjoyed those races. But I live now in Lucan, which
Okay.
is getting out to, I'm not near the sea. When I was in Howth, most of my kind of younger adult life, I didn't live in Ireland until I was in boarding school when I was 12. But I would definitely swim more if I was around
Close.
Killiney
Yeah.
or Sea Point
Well,
or Bayside.
we'll dive into how you arrived in Ireland until you were 12 at another episode. But for now, Michael, that's been a lot of fun. We've learned quite a bit about you. Great success with GemPool. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for taking the chance and becoming a Host in Ireland partner.
Pleasure.
And it's been really interesting. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Gary. Appreciate it.